Let's discuss this further. Joining me now is Conservative MP and trade critic Adam Chambers. Adam, good afternoon and thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
I will talk to you about the information that's just coming in about that meeting between Pam Bondi and Justice Minister. But first up, can we just discuss trade and what we've learned so far? Dominic LeBlanc meeting with Howard Lutnick, saying the meeting was lengthy and constructive. What have been your impressions so far?
Well, we do know up until very recently there were very few talks happening. So I guess on one level, it's a good thing that parties are discussing. They are open lines of communications are there. So I would say it is perhaps better than we were a couple days ago. But I would say from a conservative perspective and from many people I'm hearing from, this elbows up mentality seems to have been put to the sidebar. And I think it looks like we are seeing a very different strategy from Prime Minister Carney, a very different one than he promised during the election in order to satisfy Mr. Trump.
Can you talk more to that? When you say a different strategy, a different approach, what do you mean?
Well, you'll recall, and your viewers will recall, during the election, Mr. Trump featured prominently, and Mr. Carney and the Liberal Party platform was basically, look, vote for us. We will be elbows up. The Liberals will be elbows up. We will fight. We will not cave into Donald Trump. And if you vote for Conservatives, they're the ones that are going to cave into Donald Trump. Except that, every decision Mr. Carney has made since winning the election has seemed to give in to Mr. Trump's demands, whether that is the most recent removing of the tariffs. You'll recall during the election, they did quietly remove some tariffs. They also stopped collecting the digital services tax. We know that was a trade irritant for the Americans. Those are all concessions that Canada has made to the Americans, and it's unclear what we've gotten in exchange for those concessions. And that is definitely not what Mr. Carney had promised during the election.
I was speaking with the finance minister just a few days ago after this announcement came in last week, and he said that was required so that there was a reset in the conversation so that we could pick up the phone and get back to the negotiating table, and we are seeing a reflection of that today. So what would you say to that?
Well, I would just say I'm concerned that it's unclear what we will have achieved from the concessions. I would say, yes, it is a good thing that conversations are happening, but I think we need to judge the totality of the results that Mr. Carney gets once we have a deal. Mr. Carney likes his hockey analogies. I don't think we should be scoring the game as we go. I think we need to score it at the end in order to determine whether Mr. Carney has in fact secured a deal. But as we sit right now, it is unclear what Canada has gotten in order to get those concessions. I mean, it was not that long ago that Mr. Carney was famously using the elbows up slogan that was in their ads on their campaign. It was their primary ask to Canadians to vote for them so that they would keep their elbows up against Americans. Remember the phrase, when someone challenges you, you have to be ready to drop your gloves. Well, what Mr. Carney has done over the last few weeks and couple months has not been dropping the gloves, to keep his analogy.
We know that the Prime Minister and the government has also spoken of how we need to strengthen our relationships, not just with the US, but other countries across the world so that we can boost our trade. The Prime Minister was in Europe this week, as we know. He was in Germany. He was in Latvia. There were some big announcements came in, for example, where the NATO mission is concerned. He's trying to build on those ties. Your take on how far this government has been doing in terms of building those trade relationships overseas and not depending on the US so much?
Well, it is appropriate that we do need to reduce our reliance on the American economy. I don't think we'll ever be able to totally get rid of it. So it is important to build our relationships with other countries. However, I would say, having meetings is nice. Being on the international stage is good and sometimes even glamorous. However, what we do need is results. Mr. Carney campaigned during the election saying now is the time to think big and act faster than we've ever acted before as a country. And I'm not sure we're actually moving at the pace that we need to in order to make gains, not just for the Canadian economy, but it's for people and jobs and everyone who's affected by what's happening with our relationship with the Americans.
Conservative trade critic Adam Chambers, appreciate your time for joining us this afternoon. Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.